Scott, welcome to Dundee United Football Club. You've just been appointed Academy Director. How have your first few days been at the club?
It's been great. It's obviously great to be back in Scotland after a spell in England, and great to be home with family and friends, and most importantly joining a club with such a rich tradition and player development. Really looking forward to the experience. First few days have been excellent, getting to know the staff and the facilities and everything that we've got here, and it looks as if everything's in a good place, which is exciting for me as well. So really looking forward to getting started.
Yeah, you mentioned that there's a structure there in place already. When the initial discussions started about you taking the job, what was the remit that was pitched to you about taking the academy forward?
I think obviously there's been a good tradition in terms of player development here, getting players through to the first team. The previous academy directors have clearly done a lot of good work in that space as well, Andy and Paul, and the current staff are excellent from what I've seen so far. The key thing for me is developing first team players. That's the fundamentals of what an academy's for, in my opinion, and it's really now looking at the structures that are in place from the youngest age groups right through to the professional development phase, and what we're doing all the way through the pathway to hopefully get more players into the first team moving forward.
Player development is obviously the main focus of any academy, but I guess staff development is almost equally as important, because if you've got good quality coaches dealing with the players on a day-to-day basis, that goes hand in hand with developing higher quality players.
Absolutely, that's something that I've got a background in as well, in coach development and looking at that as well. So the staff that I've seen so far, I've watched a lot of the training, are excellent from what I can see, but everyone wants to get better. So there's some strategies and things in the pipeline that we're working on just now in terms of links with other clubs and looking at different associations, what they're doing, not just here in Scotland but out with Scotland as well. So we've got a few exciting initiatives hopefully that we can announce in the coming months that will be putting coach development right at the forefront of what we do as well. Sustainability
is obviously one of the things that's at the forefront of everything we do here across the board. So what kind of things are you planning to implement that ensure that comes to fruition within the academy structure? Well, as I say, the first thing for me is that pathway to the first team, that we've got to look and make sure that we have got a robust player development pathway from the little ones right the way through to the professional development phase. There's obviously been a lot of debate recently in Scotland about the transition from academy football to first team football. I think it's important that we are at the table with the Scottish FA in those debates, making sure that what we are looking at as a club fits within what's happening nationally as well. There's obviously a lot of work that's been done with player loans, the games programme, under 18s and what's happening there. So I'm looking forward to that kind of space and seeing what we're doing in that and how we can really make that better to make sure we get more players through into the first team moving forward. You're still quite young yourself. Your playing career didn't finish too long ago, but you've had a lot of coaching experience in quite a short amount of time. So just tell us a wee bit about your career today and what experiences you've had so far. Yeah, so obviously I'm coming in from the English Premier League, working with Nottingham Forest, which has been a fantastic experience. Category 1 Academy down there as well. So there's been a lot of evolution and innovation and data and research and all of that kind of stuff that is, I think the experience I've gained from there will be beneficial here. Prior to that, I was working over in America for a couple of years as a director of coaching, and my last role in Scotland was with Partick Thistle as an academy director. So I know the landscape well in terms of Club Academy Scotland and what's happening in Scottish youth football. But also I think those experiences of working in England in particular has put me in good stead with the experiences that I've gained to take this role forward. Prior to that, as you say, my playing career didn't go far. I was in the Scottish League 2 when I finished up playing, but I combined that in the early stages of my coach development back in 2002 or whenever it was. So it's been a journey in terms of my coach development. Worked with a lot of good people, a lot of good players that I've seen progress from being young players to international footballers. And again, all of that experience, I hope that I can bring it all together and hopefully fit well in this environment to improve what's happening here at the academy. If we just look at the role that you're going to be doing here, what do you think that entails on a daily basis? Just tell us a wee bit about that. Well, I think first of all, as I say, the initial assessment that I've had is there's some really good people in the building, from the academy staff, from guys like Stephen Leahy, Scott Madden and what have you, are over there just now doing a great job at Foundation Park. I think the links with the Supporters Foundation, looking at Foundation Park and the work that's been done there is fantastic. I have to say that. It's fantastic to see the facility across from the stadium as a base, and really making sure that those partnerships and those links moving forward are strong will be a priority for me as well. Supporters want more players, I would imagine, in the first team, so it's going to be something that I'll be held accountable to and the staff as well. So that's one of the key things for me, is making sure that relationships with the staff are strong, making sure external relationships are strong as well, but the pathway for young players is the key bit.
You know, you just need to look at the first team just now and you can see already a number of players that are there. It's now looking at that conveyor belt under that to make sure that we've got a regular occurrence of young players that are homegrown, playing for the club out there in the pitch.
The be-all and end-all of the academy is to bring players through that are capable of going and playing for Dundee United's first team. You don't need to really look that far back for great examples of that here. We've got a rich history of producing our own players, so how important is it to keep that pathway open?
Yeah, I think so. One of the things that we'll do is we're obviously looking at the strategic plan for the academy as well, and at the forefront of that is developing first team players. So moving forward, it's really looking at what is a first team player for Dundee United, what's the DNA of the first team player at United, and really emphasising that to all the young players and their families in the academy. The objective for us is that every stage of development that we've got robust processes in place and clear plans for the players to get them through each stage so that ultimately they'll play for that first team. We have to set goals as well as an academy for ourselves to say how many players are we getting each year into the first team, how many starts are they making, how many benches are getting made, how many debuts are getting made. But really, you know, driving forward that emphasis on you're here to develop as a first team player is something that's, for me, is really, really important. There's always other options for players at the younger stages of the pathway, but there's nothing better than getting through from your academy into your first team. And it will be a real key component for me, and emphasising that to all the players. When you sign for Dundee United, you're being signed here to develop for our first team first and foremost.
How important is it that those plans are individualised so that you're getting the best out of each player as an individual?
It's huge, and I think for me personally, again, on that journey I've been on, like, you know, that's something that I've learned as a coach. You know, I think the difference from when I was a young kid to now is night and day. Every player needs that individual journey. Every player needs to really focus on their individual journey. Some players might need a loan or 2 loans before they're ready for the first team. Some players at 16 might be ready for the first team. So it's really important for us as a staff team that we are all the way through the journey giving the players their regular individual reviews, that it really hones in on what that pathway looks like for them. It's not like, one of the things I won't do is try and create a pathway that's, you know, this is what you must do to be a Dundee United player. It's very much about, this is the qualities of a Dundee United player. How do we get you to that point? Is it at 16? Is it at 18? Is it at 21? But we really need to make sure that we've got an individual development plan for every single player at the club.
Coaching's also been a massive part of your personal journey. We've touched on that already. You've worked with quite a lot of top level players, so you're still going to have that chance to have, you know, boots on the ground every day.
Absolutely. I think, you know, that never leaves you. You know, I think like most people that start out in football, I started out as a young kid wanting to play the game, and then that evolved into coaching, and I do enjoy being on the pitch. My role at Partick Thistle was, you know, kind of nice in terms of the hybrid role of doing the Academy Director, but also worked with the first team players in the caretaker role a couple of times. Worked with the under-18s and the reserves quite a lot as well. And down at Nottingham Forest, you know, I've been very fortunate to work with some genuine elite players. My role at Forest involved working with the under-18 squad, the B team, the first team players being prepped up for loans, as well as working with the younger players last season. So, you know, I've been able to work with a lot of real, genuine top players, and that experience, obviously, I like to dip into that. I'd probably say, you know, more so in a coach support role here at United, in terms of making sure that the coach development side of things is top notch and let the guys get on with the job. But whatever way I can add value here to the club, that I'm willing to do that. So looking forward to it.
You touched on your experience at Nottingham Forest, and they're very data driven, and I know we're trying to go down a similar pathway. So are there things that you can implement from your time there?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we're looking at just now is the individual plans for player development, so the IDPs. So we've looked at that in the last 24 hours in terms of what support our players getting, not just from a football standpoint, but from an athletic development standpoint, nutrition, health and well-being. So I think things like that I've been working on down south. I think, you know, bringing that to United will be a good thing. So we're looking at that. We're looking at how we utilise analysis as well. That's another area that we're looking at in terms of the objective data that we're getting from the academy, but also externally to benchmark what we're doing. One of the things that I've been lucky to do is I've been on a couple of ECA trips, which is the European Clubs Association, to look at other models and what's happening around Europe. And that partnership with that is something that hopefully here at United we'll be able to build on moving forward. So some of the staff can go and experience different clubs, different experiences, and bring it back here to United, and really utilising data, because it's a good thing to utilise for player development, and that's something we hope to do as a club moving forward as well.
Yeah, how important do you feel that knowledge sharing is between top level European clubs?
I think it's massive. As I say, I was fortunate, was that November, I was over at Benfica and looking at their youth academy in terms of their coaching methodology, their structures, and there's a lot of things that you can see there that we can do here in Scotland as well. I've personally got a lot of relationships with different European clubs and hope to send some of the staff from here across to Belgium, to Holland, down to England as well. Obviously really strong links down there. But first and foremost here in Scotland as well, we have to have that culture and identity, from this local community. The values that are in the community, hard work, discipline, these types of values are something that I think we have to really develop in our young footballers and not lose sight of who we are, but really learn from other environments, but really never ever lose sight of who we are in our own community as well.